This is lesson 5.6, writing equations from 2 points. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to write an equation when you're given 2 points, either on a graph or in just in a word problem. So basically, what are the 3 forms we've used so far to write linear equations? Our 3 forms are slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, standard form, ax plus by equals c, and point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m is our slope and x1, y1 is a point. So how do we write an equation when we're given 2 points? We actually have 2 options. Okay, we can use point slope form or we can use slope intercept form. Both are correct. Some people just prefer one over the other. So let's walk through both of them. No matter which form we're using, point slope or slope intercept, they both have the word slope in them. When we're given 2 points, were we given the slope? No, but we know how to find our slope. We find our slope with our formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We can use that formula and calculate our slope no matter which option we're using to solve with. So we have our 2 points. Our y values are going from 2 to -1. So put that in the numerator. And in the denominator, we see our x values are going from 8 to 0. So what is 2 minus a -1? That's 2 plus 1, which is 3. And 8 minus 0 is 8. So we have calculated our slope as 3/8. Now we can use this information in both forms. Let's start with option A, point slope form. Point slope form is written y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We always write the form down because then it helps us to figure out what pieces we need to fill in. The pieces we need here are y1, x1 given in a point, and we have 2 points. And the other piece we need is our slope, and we just calculated our slope. So let's fill those pieces in. Y minus y1 be, if we use our first point, it's going to be y minus 2 equals 3/8, our slope, of x minus 8, because our first x value is 8. Now we use the distributive property. We get y minus 2 equals 3/8 x minus 3. 3/8 of -8 is a -3. Now we add 2 to both sides, and we get y equals 3/8 x minus 1. Done. We are done. We have calculated the equation. Now let's look at option B, slope-intercept form. So let's write down slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Again, we always write the form down so we see the pieces we need to fill in. With this form, we need to fill in the slope m, which we have. We also need to fill in our y-intercept. We do not have our y-intercept. So let's go ahead and calculate that. So y equals 3/8 x. We fill in our 3/8 plus b. Now, in order to solve for b, we're going to plug in one of our points. We're going to plug in our y value of 2 and our x value of 8. This will allow us to solve for b. So we get 2 equals 3 plus 8, and we get -1 equals our b. So our y-intercept value is -1. What do we do with that information? We go back to our original slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and now we're able to plug in our pieces. We know our slope is 3/8. We know our y-intercept is -1. So we have y equals 3/8 x minus 1. Now we might write an equation from 2 points. They might be given in a different way. Example 2 says write an equation for a line that has an x-intercept at -4. And goes through the point 2, 3. Well, it appears as though they only gave us 1 point, 2, 3. But is that accurate? The x-intercept is a point on the graph. Let's take a look at that. The x-intercept at -4 is this point right here where x is -4. That's where our graph is crossing the x-axis. That's an actual point. It's -4, 0. Now we can grab our other point, 2, 3, And that's also on our graph. And we can see what our line looks like. If we choose to graph it, we might not always have this possibility. They may have just given us this information. We might not have a graph to work with. If we don't have a graph to work with, then we have to calculate our slope, again using our slope formula. So if we fill in our y values, we're going from 0 to 3. And then when we fill in our x values, we're going from -4 to 2. So in the numerator, 0 minus 3 is -3. -4 minus 2 is -6. Now a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so we're going to get a positive 1/2. We've just calculated our slope as 1/2. Now because we have a graph, we can verify. That's our rise over run. We're going to rise 1, run 2. Let's come back to this point. If I rise 1 and run 2, I see I've come to another cross point in my graph. Rise 1, run 2, and I'm at another intersection. Rise 1, 1, 2, and I've mapped onto my other point. So I know I've calculated my slope correctly if I can verify it on a graph. Now to finish writing our equation, I'm going to use point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What information do I need? I need my slope, which I just calculated, and I need a point. And I do have a point, 2, 3, or I also have the point -4, 0. So let's fill in our information. I'm going to use -4, 0 because it has a 0 in it. It makes my life easier. So I've got y minus my y value of 0 equals my slope over half times x minus a -4 becomes a +4. Now using the distributive property, we have the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 4. We have the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 2. And if we look at our graph, we see our y-intercept is 2. Our line is crossing the y-axis at 2, and we do have a slope of rise 1, run 2.